All right, welcome back, guys, to Garza Performance. We actually have two of Fresno Pacific's ex-volleyball players, Amy and Elise, and they're going to be helping me out with today's video. We're going to talk about Training 101 and the first chunk of training, which is movement prep, which focuses on mobility, focuses on tissue quality, and also the dynamic warm-up that I have the volleyball girls do. But all of this can actually be done by the general population as well for losing weight and gaining muscle or sports performance. Alrighty, one of the first things that you want to do is mobility work, and you want to start from the bottom to the top. So we're going to start off with the ankles. They're going to be actually showing us how to do an ankle mobility with a band. So you guys can go ahead and start wrapping that around. This actually helps a lot with being able to do squats, help with knee injuries, just making sure that the ankle is mobile, because when the ankle is mobile, it allows you to get into different positions that help with torque, help with power, and they just help with a lot of movement. So all you gotta do, you gotta find one of these bands. There's a bunch of different ones, different colors, and the color is just the resistance. So you wanna wrap it around the ankle, and you're gonna step back, and then you're just gonna lean forward and kind of get a little bit of motion in the ankle. And what that does is it kind of glides it for you, and it helps with making sure that that ankle is moving properly. And then what we have them do is they do it for about 30 seconds on each one, and then they switch over and then they do the other foot, or they do it for that amount of time, but then they go on to the next joint, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Another part, now you want to move up the next joint. Now, a lot of people think that the knee is the next joint, but actually, there's a thing called the joint by joint approach. So the ankle should be mobile, the knee should be stable, the hip should be mobile. So the next mobile joint is the hip, and that's the one that actually gets immobilized by a lot of different things. A lot of volleyball players you see that have issues with hip flexor problems, and that a lot of stems just from the activities that they do. Most Americans, most people sit at their desk all day or just sit a lot. So making sure that you can get your hip opened up. This is a great way to do it. You have an external force pushing you forward, and then you kind of lean into it. You're gonna get a very good stretch in your hip flexors, but also you're moving the hip a little bit. The actual joint capsule is moving, which is great. Then you can go into different ranges of motion by picking up your hand, by picking up your arm, and just stretching it out a little bit more. And the same thing, 30 seconds on each side, and then we just go up to the next joint. All right, the next joint that is up on that joint-of-joint approach is the thoracic spine, and that's the spine that all of your ribs attach to. So this part, you also get bogged down. Same thing, rotated shoulders forward. Volleyball players, they hit forward. That forward motion causes them also to get a little bit rounded in the back. So this helps a lot. And you see that they have their hands, their elbows pointed forward. That helps with moving the scapula out of the way, and it exposes the thoracic spine, which actually gets you to be able to pop them a little bit and move the joints a little bit. You can also hug yourself, which helps a lot too in doing the same thing. And when you do that, you can also rock to your sides. And when you do that, it also kind of helps a little bit with that. All right, the next joint would be the shoulder joint. This is one of the exercises that we do to help with not only stretching it, but also getting it into a better position with help of the assistance of a band. When we do it this way, it actually helps with making sure that your shoulder is in the correct position, not only for when we do cleans or when we do overhead pressing, but also for the volleyball players when they do hitting. This actually gets them in a really good position for that. One of the cues that I give them is to make sure that they breathe deep as they can, and then let it all out, and make sure that their ribs drop down, because when their ribs drop down, that gives an extra little stretch on that lat, and it's a great exercise for them to be able to get warmed up before we start doing things in the gym. Okay, after you do some of the mobility work that we showed, there is now foam rolling that you can do to help with tissue quality. We always start again from the bottom up, so making sure that you get your calves rolled out is an amazing thing that you can do. It not only helps with making sure that your muscles lengthen, but it also helps now that your ankle might be in a better position, it helps with that as well. And there's a couple of different ways you can do it. If it doesn't feel too hot, which a lot of times it doesn't, you could do it with both legs on it, just kind of like Amy's doing right now. And if you need a little bit more pressure, you can do what Elise is doing and put the other leg on top, add a little bit more weight. And then even after that, once you add a weight and you want a little bit more, you can actually rock your feet side to side and kind of get those muscles on the side a little bit. And you can also kind of zigzag in and out as well. We also do this for about 30 seconds each side, and then we switch to the next one, which would be your hamstring and the glute hamstring connection, so right up by the glute. And that one is amazing for where your hamstring connects to the glute. And you just kind of roll out, and that's up here, so if you just want to keep rolling up. Yep. You just kind of roll out the whole hamstring as well, and you just kind of keep going. And the same thing, about 15 seconds on that. And then from there, we go on to the glute. And on the glute, it's a little bit tricky, but on the side that you want to actually work on, that's the side that you're going to put your foot up. So if Amy wants to work on her right side, she's going to put her right foot on top of her left knee, and then lean across and use her left hand to kind of come across and brace herself. There you go. And then just kind of roll. This one is probably, as you can probably see their faces, the most agonizing one, except maybe the IT band. But both of these they don't feel the best, but they work really well to kind of help with the next portion of making sure that you can do the dynamic warm-up correctly. And then from there, you can also go back and doing your thoracic mobility again, or you could go on to doing the IT band. So the IT band is right on the side. It connects the little muscle here all the way down to the knee. There's a couple of ways you can do this as well. Elise will go and you can do the modified version, so you can go ahead and put your foot up and just do one side. Just kind of roll in and out. Or you can do what Amy's doing and do both legs on top of each other. Same thing, it's just progression or regression for each of them. And then we're going to do the adductors, so the inside. And that's where you kind of have the foam roller perpendicular to you. Yep, there you go. And this gets the inside of the muscle. This one gets the inside of the muscle. And then you can just roll in and out, and making sure that you get to the end of the knee. Don't cross the kneecap, because that might hurt a little bit if you cross the kneecap at all. But you do want to get all the way to the little muscle called the VMO, which is the muscle that's the little ball that pops out when you kind of flex your quad. All right, and then as you go up, the lat is one of the foam rolling exercises that we do as well. Especially with overhead athletes, we want to make sure that their lat isn't tightening up, because that can cause a lot of issues. This one as well is not very comfortable, but it does help with a lot of the different movements that we do, especially for volleyball, baseball, swimming even, water polo, anything that you use to where you throw overhead. And you just got to roll in and out. You can't really put too much pressure on it. If you can lift up a little bit and put a little bit more pressure, but most people kind of just hang out, lay out, and just roll up and down. Same thing, about 30 seconds on each side, and then you can just keep going with what's next. Alrighty, so that last part that you're watching right now, or the part that you're watching right now, is them doing the dynamic warm-up. And that just is a lot more sport specific, but you want to actually make sure that all joints are touched on, and also that you start elevating your heart rate a little bit. You get a little bit of stretching in there. The dynamic warm-up is also called dynamic stretching. That's just making sure that you're doing movements that are going to be present in the actual workout. So you see them doing inchworms, you see them doing kicks, you see them doing the different types of A steps and B skips and different things like that, which it comes into play when they do plyos, when they do hang cleans, when they do box jumps and different things like that. So, but yeah, definitely thank you again for watching, and I wanted to thank my two assistants here for being able to take out some time out of their busy schedules to come and help me out. And also, if you have any questions, you can email me. I'll link the email below, and you can also follow me on Instagram. I'll link that as well. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and keep on watching. Thanks.